Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Papacy and this is Crusader Kings 3, and I welcome you back here, of course, to the court of King Philippe of Aquitaine and Italy, and I put on the left side here His Holiness Pope Stephanus V, a very wise man, a very, honestly, very good man. He has supported King Philippe whenever necessary, whenever possible, and he simply has been a truly admirable character. Now, there are some things that I would like to talk about before we unpause this, because I think there will be very important things happening in this episode. Whether it works or whether it doesn't work, who knows, but of course there are some considerations to be made, and I would like to just recapitulate where we are when it comes to the position of both Aquitaine but also the church. Let's just start out with the following. King Philippe is a good king. He's a great king even. Think about it. He did not wage a single war to bring back Italy into the fold. He did not wage a single war to convert the Duke of Toscana. He convinced his family. And in all fairness, he even gave him, despite not being obliged to do it, he could have simply imprisoned and then led a war against Duke Tommaso, but he even gave him a favor. Whether this will fully work out, I mean, I love this idea that, you know, getting the heresy out of these lands is very difficult to do, so these are obviously still heretics, but we shall see how that develops. Either way, we have been a good king when it comes to the practical, to the real effect that we have had on the country. We have reinstituted our rule in these areas. We have, of course, acted against King Aslan the Dragon whenever we could. We have also retaken Savoy, which was just a matter of reaffirming authority. And even when we tried to take Savoy, we tried it as, you know, friends first. We attempted to tell Duke Lothair we can't stand one another right now, but I believe there's a compromise. Now, Duke Lothair, of course, slapped our hand away. He was not in agreement, but my point ultimately is, King Philippe has, without a doubt, and I needed to think about it for a second, but he has been the best ruler that we have played here in this series, so the actual player characters, but he has also been a very different ruler when it comes to, you know, what Aquitaine has seen before. What I mean with this is that, for example, when we rebelled because the French crown had disrespected us. I mean here in this case that our ancestors in Bascognac rebelled after trying to pay homage, which was a huge gesture to Charles the Bold, and Charles the Bold laughed at us. Afterwards, we were promised Carloman as king of Aquitaine, and Carloman was a monster. There was no consent there. We did not agree to be ruled by these people. Then later, after all, of course, you know, Aquitaine sort of fell apart. Aquitaine restored itself. We went in there guided by the church. I mean, the whole rebellion against France was guided by the church. The whole resurrection of Aquitaine, when we unified it, was guided by the church. Let me just take a quick look at this. There he is. King Asna I was guided by the church without a doubt. And then, of course, we have King Asna the Dragon, and King Asna the Dragon kept this realm together by war. I mean, of course, the rebellions of the Italians, I mean the rebellion at home, but I also mean, in the time when Elizabeth, you know, largely cared about her family, he waged war against Vea of Poitiers, Gilles of Kernef, Ruggiero of Comé, Orson of Toscana, and Louis of Valencia. He waged those wars. These were tyranny wars because he went against them. That is not a rule by consent either. And in comparison, King Philippe arises and he convinces all of the Italians to accept that he is the rightful king of Italy, that they are one under the Iron Crown of Lombardy that of course rests in our throne room as well. This is a huge shift. This is a paradigm shift. This is a moment where King Philippe emerges as a different king, and I would largely say as a king for who his humility really plays the biggest role in how he rules. He didn't need to talk to the Italians. He didn't need to give the favor to Duke Tommaso. He didn't need to offer them lower, levy obligations. He had a right to rule them by the power of Italy being de jure accepted as the overlord of these areas, and yet he did not do it. I am so eager, and I find it very important to point this out, because his humility has been his most important aspect in his domestic rule. And that humility and that approach that he has had with vassals, you know, short of Savoy, of course, but they rejected his hand in friendship. That was ultimately their activity there. But his humility and his rule by consent really puts us much more than we otherwise would be organically into the direction of why don't we let them elect their ruler? Because obviously, yes, this decision, you know, would make it so that we elect a princely elective, that we elect the empress and such, but why would a radical, a harsh ruler allow this? And the answer is obviously he wouldn't, but that is not the ruler King Philippe is. So I want to point that out. I think that fits in very, very well with the decision, should we be able to take it. The other thing that I really want to point out is that when King Philippe ascended, He was a known witch, and we have detailed that in the past. I think witchcraft here is something that is more of a rite when it comes to the way it was acted out. It wasn't devil worship or anything like this, but let's put all that aside. The perception was that he may very well be a heretic. He wasn't excommunicated or anything. He didn't declare that he wasn't a Catholic, that he wasn't subservient to the Pope, but it was a rumor. And the most fascinating thing when it comes to this, to me, has always been, and I think always will be, that Pope Stephanus V never judged him for it. Remember that when we were preparing our travels to Rome to ask for forgiveness, when we were considering it, I should say, wasn't it Pope Stephanus V that gave us the money to make it possible? Wasn't it him that said, I will without a doubt immediately welcome you back in the church as a normal, as a good man? It was him. He liked us. We didn't just like him, we admired him. We think of Pope Stephanus as truly a God-sent ruler over Christianity. And yet again, I want to stress this, his humility really came through. I understand that we have many different, and I love these different viewpoints, because obviously everybody interprets these characters slightly differently. But I have to tell you, when it comes to his witchcraft, he obviously saw it as something fairly innocent, as something that didn't put him in breach of canonical law. Well, the world in general, of course, disagreed. They viewed him as a witch, and Pope Stephanus said, it's not that bad, simply come to Rome, I will immediately forgive you, my child. He's a compassionate and temperate man, and I think that King Philippe, after the harshness, of course, of King Asner, can truly and genuinely appreciate that. So, where I'm coming from there, is that King Philippe, in his role as a holy warrior, in his role as seeing himself as the shield and sword of the Catholic Church, understands that Pope Stephanus is also in need of things. Pope Stephanus has been nothing but great for him. Pope Stephanus has protected him and his family and was on the side of his mother, despite, of course, of King Philippe at the time being seen as a witch. But Pope Stephanus has raised us as King of Aquitaine and King of Italy for a good reason. I really need to clarify this, because in the game mechanics this isn't really depicted, but roleplay-wise, Pope Stephanus is under threat. And you might say, oh, Pope Stephanus has infinite money and infinite troops, how could he be under threat? And obviously, mechanically speaking, you're right. But the reality here is, on a roleplay level, that the Basileia Romaion under Vasilisa Constantia has changed the ball game. Instead of simply accepting, yes, we are grumbling, but the Western Christianity is lost, they have begun encroaching on their territory. And not just that, they have erected a bishop in Ravenna. And Ravenna was the seat of the, and I will probably mispronounce it, the exarchate of the Basileia Romaion when they claimed all of Italy to be their own. We can't interpret this as anything but the Orthodox Church, the Pentarchy, the ecumenical patriarch, claiming that Western Christianity should return home. That Pope Stephanus shouldn't have any power. That he is not blessed. That he is not the shepherd of all good Christians. And that is a big threat. Oh, and look at that, he's making something. He's very competent at his craft. That is nice. Yeah, my point is that as much as he is a good man, Pope Stephanus, don't get it twisted, he is to be admired. He is a very dignified and respectable person. He is under threat by a resurgent Roman Empire. What is happening here? Oh yeah, look at that. Is he not right now? Or is she not right now directly intervening in the papal sphere of influence because they do not recognize that the Pope rules over these lands? I believe the Basileia Romaion, even though mechanically it isn't roleplay-wise, is a huge threat to the papacy. And with that, I have to bring something up. Yes, we are humble. Yes, we have ruled by consent. But unless we establish an empire that swears fealty to the Pope, that swears that protection of his papal holiness and all of Christianity is the foremost purpose of the empire, unless we do that, unless we shatter Basileia Romaion's ambitions in Italy, we would be disappointing him. We would not be his humble servant, we would be a poor traitor. So that where I'm coming from here is that I firmly believe that after we satisfied, after we were such a glorious and virtuous ruler, because that is exactly what we are by pacifying Italy without shedding any blood, by pacifying most of Aquitaine without shedding, well, most blood, Savoy, sure, but, you know, you have to remember, we are becoming friends with Casimir of Wieden here, it has a 100% chance, and this will also, yet again, unify Aquitaine even further. But I gotta tell you, the way I see this is that we have to do what we can to found the empire, not for our sake, not for the sake of our family and so on, but for the sake of the Pope. And there are two things attached to this. First of all, it is France. France is ruled by an adulterer, a drunkard, and a torturer, and that is all just one person. His son is a delicate man that doesn't understand the virtue of being a powerful ruler, that doesn't understand what it means to be a truly strong fighter. I do think that if it opens up the potential of a restored Western Roman Empire, the Pope would urge us to claim and conquer France. For that, I have devised a method that is both in character but also mechanically satisfies everything. After we become friends with Casimir, I will attempt to become friends with Pope Stephanos. And should Pope Stephanos become friends with me, we could even become best friends. And as best friends, I have a hook on him. And with that hook, I could then claim France. If I can't befriend him, then so be it. We will have to think as kings as we are right now, and sometimes that is how it is. But that is what I propose mechanically. And when I use the hook, or if I were to use the hook to claim France, I would take this as the Pope convincing us to do it and conquer the north so that the south can be free and protected. It is a very decisive thing. It's a very intense thing because King Philippe has a huge task ahead of him. And you know what? Let's just take it step by step. We might even, before we attempt to befriend the Pope, we might even clear out King Asna the Dragon to finish our duty. It also does bring a question up of inheritance, but let's take a look at that in a second. Estefania's very existence is an insult to the name of our glorious dynasty, a misshapen freak. My kinswoman diminishes the Devasconia dynasty with her very breath, every breath. How could such distinguished lineage spawn a creature like her? I honestly think he will just say we all have our shortcomings. Our mother, without a doubt. I mean, she got involved. She said, no, I will be taking care of the family. I'm honest with you. You are currently not worth much, but I can make you worth something. No, I don't think he would do that. He would simply say, Estefania, live the best life that you can. Now, speaking of inheritance, I gotta tell you, he loves all of his children. I want to clarify this as well. He loves every single one of his children, but he recognizes Prince Alva is a drunkard, and he knows Prince Alva is keeping his witch secret very much close to his heart. He's not stopping, himself from being a witch. He actively still practices the rites. Prince Alva, I'm worried about you. I'm worried whether you and your deceitful nature, I mean, he's a great, humble, and brave man, but I worry whether he could be the monarch that he needs to be. Then Prince Martin, I have to tell you this outright, he is not even in consideration for inheritance as long as he doesn't repent. And I don't say this as a personal fella that, oh, and you escaped from my prison? I mean, that's okay, don't worry about it too much. I don't say this as like, oh, I dislike my child. No, he says this with all the love in his heart. He understands why Prince Martin still, of course, goes through with the old ways. But he also says, Prince Martin, if you want to become the king, the emperor, you have to let go of these delusions. You have to realize that there is much more to the world than we are aware of. And then, of course, we have our children. And you know what? I'm thinking about this. Princess Elvira. Ooh, she has a very impressive prowess for a 7-year-old. You know what? I'm taking Elvira on my travels. We'll have to see about that. But I'm going to take her and the youngest, Prince Nuno, on my travels. I have so far, I rejected it with my niece, of course. I rejected taking care of Duchess Elizabeth as we were busy. But now that basically these times in Italy are over, I think I would love to take care of my children. And let me actually take a look at this. He doesn't have anything against diplomacy, and he excels at it as well, so I think it is just fine if she studies diplomacy. I can only hope that we can teach her a thing or two about prowess, however. With him, I'm not so sure yet. He leans towards stewardship and learning. We'll have to see. But I think he basically looks around himself, and he asks, okay, how much time do I have? Hopefully, maybe 45 more years. He would love to live that long, of course, but he says it is a responsibility. I think, let's say Prince Alva were to have to forego the title of king or / emperor, we would still give him lands, don't get me wrong here. We would make sure that he is taken care of. He's a good man. He struggles, much like our mother, much like our brother. He struggles with alcohol. But he is a good man, a respectable man. He hasn't done anything wrong per se, just in the eyes of the world. And that is, of course, I can't change the world, not at least in these circumstances. He's too humble for that. But he would definitely still give him land. So don't get this wrong. I'm not trying to oust or disinherit Prince Alva. It's more about the consideration of how viable a candidate they would be to truly represent the empire. But it's something that I can't settle on a decision yet. There's too much open. And one of our knights and our wife here are having a conversation, a knight's declaration. As I pace towards my throne, I overhear my knight Anul proclaiming something to my wife Ebba. I wonder what secrets her mask protects. For surely this woman is free of defects. The mere thought of her smile brings one to my face and makes my heart flutter with remarkable pace. Is he reciting romantic poetry to my wife? I mean, first of all, he is insane, but it is honorable, of course, to have pure romance. This is something that is very active within our culture, that we have implemented a long time ago, but obviously jealousy might play a role here. Let's take a look here. Arnold, you skirt chaser, to the dungeon with you. Ebba, get away from him, you Jezebel. Or, courtly love, let that wonderful poetry echo through the halls. If something is happening, it's allowed to continue. I think he trusts his wife. She's an honest lady. Obviously, again, they're not soulmates or anything. But I think he might perceive this as the innocent, dignified appeal to the queen. To essentially say, of course I have to appeal to the queen. She is the highest of women. After all, she is the husband, the wife of the king. I think he sees this as something fairly innocent. He says it's not courtly love, it is just a poetic appeal to the ideal of a woman, which Queen Ebba, of course, is. And if something were to happen, Queen Ebba is honest. Let's always remember that. He knows her as an honest person, so you know what? I'll let this one go. I don't think this is like equivalent to, for example, genuine seduction here. I think this is just him saying, of course, she's the ideal of the woman. She is married to you. How else could it be? Wait, what just happened here? We inherited Uze. Yes, we just handed that out. I remember we did hand it out. You know, now I'm thinking, can I give this to you? No, because you wouldn't, you don't stand to inherit it. Obviously, he stands to inherit Lapordie and Bascognaco. I will simply hand it out to a trustworthy person yet again. Are you one of my knights? I would like to give it to one of my knights. You know what, let's just check this out. This is a bit of a, you know, this is basically a domicile that we might just travel through, and we need this area to be secure so that the River Rhone here is indeed protected. Do we have a landless knight? There he is, Pandolf. Oh, right, he's the fellow that lost the duel, but frankly, in Servant of the Crown, you may now have this title. What is this? A ransom. Oh, right, yeah, obviously one of them escaped, and then the rest still need to be, have their freedom bought. I will sell them. They are now inside of our realm, don't get me wrong, in Montpellier, you can see it. But this is the price for originally opposing us by virtue of being vassals to the Duke of Savoy. Then we have Johannes. I think I'll just release you. Yeah. You're a nobody. Not insulting, it's just, that's a fact. I have discovered that Count Bermudo's inherited contract obliges him more than you have collected. Oh, Count Bermudo of Turin. I think it is fair. Time to right this wrong. We are, of course, a lenient man. We have been lenient in Italy, but now that there is peace, Count Bermudo, you are part of this family, and I expect that you do what is right and pay more feudal taxes to me. We also do have a small war right here. Wait, we have a bunch of small wars here, actually. Wait a minute. So, first of all, we have a peasant rebellion, which comes very... oh, she already lost it. It would have come at a very inconvenient time, but now Count Lope already had won his war, and look at him, he has become a major Italian landholder. I hope that he founds his new house. I would love that so much. A proper, full Italian house. And then, we of course have heard she's now busy with a peasant rebellion. She should be able to do it. We get news, I assume, basically after the war's already over. And then over here we have Navarra and Castile fighting. He's attacking her for something that is actually de jure Navarra, so that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, see, I gotta tell you about Iberia. I saw plenty of comments that basically were like, Iberia should be your main concern. First of all, as I established at the start of the episode, I personally don't believe so, because I think we are a humble servant of the Pope, and the Pope is very much primarily fearful because of the Roman Empire, not of, you know, Al-Andalus. Al-Andalus is very powerful, don't get me wrong. However, they haven't really been at war. He is not a war-minded person. He, I think, is sort of leading into the silver and or / golden age of Al-Andalus here. He speaks Arabic, but yeah, if he were to attack the Christians to our south that became independent not too long ago, if that were to happen, we would surely intervene. But for the moment, I think we can simply ignore this, especially considering that the Iberian northern kingdoms are all part of our relatives to some degree. And this is a bug, by the way. Let me just fix that. There you go. It showed the wrong air. I don't know why it didn't refresh it. I noticed this off camera. But basically, they have been safe. They have been stable. I don't think that we see much of a reason to get involved in Iberia, in particular, you know, when we have somebody that could rightfully claim to be the heir of Charlemagne, with the letter from Pontifex Maximus Leo and the skull cap of Charlemagne. Yeah, no, I gotta tell you, I think France and, of course, the ERE are the main issues, because France would allow us to found the Holy Roman Empire, which would protect the Pope, and the Pope is threatened of course, by the enemies down there. Now, this war is over. Good for you. Would you be willing to join me? He is pretty damn close. That is very impressive. Man, this King Philippe is an insane king because he's just so good. People just love the guy. And look at that, Prince Alva has a son now, Asna. Bit of a cursed name, but then again, we had other Asnas in our family. Very good. Very good child indeed. And here you go, we have now finished the scheme for friendship. We only grow closer. Wait a minute, after learning that Duke Casimir would be guesting at a manor in the castle town of Angoulême, I realized that it would be the perfect occasion to meet with him. At my request, I was seated next to him. I was surprised at how much we had to talk about. Right, so this ends it. Wait a minute, do we not actually get a friendship with him? Oh, we did not. So that means he isn't willing to join us, unless maybe we give him a little bit of money, I suppose. Then again, we could just sway him. Takes 12 months. Huh, this didn't end in friendship, huh? I guess it just didn't work out. Oh, that's a lot of money. Then again, you have to consider that is actually exactly the first perk we picked up. I think he recognizes that Wieden, oh man, I love that I need to pay him to come back. Hear me out here. He's going to return as soon as I give him money. Wieden has been a very, very special case. We didn't have a clash over anything with him. Savoy we went against after we had basically a shouting match with each other. Wieden, we just aren't friends, but we're pretty close to one another, and I respect him. I certainly respect him as an honest, just, and generous man. The way I feel about this is, me basically paying him so that he comes back into the fold, it's because of the long history of Wieden. So many, this is such nice symbolism. I actually did not realize it until just now. So many of our dynasty died in Wieden, fighting about these lands. After Duchess Dujana, the pious of Wieden took it all over. There was a lot of hatred in the past. And we are turning over into a new chapter. We send him money to say, I understand what a proud and powerful and respectable part of the world you are. The Modré family, the Nitrava dynasty, your father and your grandmother, they are some of the most important people in this region, and I want you to know that you have my respect. We are actually ruling by consent. We have so many people that joined us because we did them a favor, because they simply liked us, because we became friends, because, for example, Duke Casimir received a payment that ultimately said, I respect who you are. This is the very first time that we have ever ruled in this fashion. Let me check something here. In 49 days, I can move against Prince Asna. Now, I could simply oust him. I could oust him in favor of Lope. I don't know. Lope doesn't he seem exactly the same way, just uglier? Because I assume his wife was ugly? Not really. I will oust him and either imprison and potentially execute him, or I think we will be going to just make him a wanderer, so that he needs to walk around and enjoy the rest of his life as an ousted, excommunicated person. I've arrived in Bayona to pay my homage to you. Duchess Marguerite, we had our differences. She is off the council. I believe she was kicked by Duke Tommaso. I can't really do much about that because I do trust the other folks on the council. And yet she pays homage. I respect that. You know what? I gained some money. She bends the knee, even though it is of course quite the effort for her to actually come to us. And yeah, everything goes well. I actually think I'm going to show her my appreciation. I'm going to tell her, my dear lady, as a person, and we unlocked this just recently. Man, I love that we're actually playing for such a long time. Usually you never see the coinage rights. You just don't see it because it's locked behind coinage right here, and most of the time people don't use the contract. We're going to give her coinage rights. Yes, she won't be on the council, but we do show her appreciation. We recognize, of course, that Sardinia and Corsica are prime areas for trade, for the consideration of trade, and for the protection of trade. I want you to make Sardinia, to make Corsica into a central for this sort of thing. I will grant you coinage rights. It doesn't actually give a positive opinion. Man, I don't like that. I really wish it gave her positive opinions. I will give you this, and I could make her a march, but no, if anything, she would definitely be a scutage, but we simply don't have that yet. When does that come? Is that later on? It surely is, right? Yeah, there it is. That is so late. I'm gonna give you coinage. This is basically the predecessor of scutage. We already make it so we encourage her to grow her location. And look at that, he changed his code language to Basque. Let's go, King Gerardo. Let's take a look at code languages here. I love that so much. Basque has taken over the entire northern kingdoms. This is me. Don't get confused here. We have the Serbians. Yeah, the Serbians are actually keeping their own language intact, making it so that you know, they don't fall into the sphere of the Greek church. Czechoslovene. Wait, what? The Gaelic fella adopted Czechoslovene. Lotharingia is a meme kingdom. I gotta tell you, what a meme kingdom. Yeah, the rest quite alright. I think we're in a good spot here. But speaking of good spot, I will now get a claim on your title, my dear friend. The County of Bresse. And then I will destroy you. And who is show me Count Couraged. He is of House Modre. I could strengthen House Modre, I suppose, but I don't think yeah, he doesn't. Oh no, right. He likes Duke Casimir. No, I'll take it for myself. This is a family business. I am fighting the damn savage. That is my family obligation. I will only raise my men-at-arms. I believe that should be pretty instant. Obviously, we might have to fear the Serbs, but I gotta be honest with you. The Serbians, yes, they are not busy, but it's too long away. I don't think we have to calculate that. And obviously, I will lead it myself. How could I not? I think that was the whole court decision, right? Either way, what a wipe. Just a very easy, basic wipe. Now we siege, and then it is all over. What happened here? And he won his war. Navarra is very, very strong. And I mean, as much as they're infighting, sure, they are infighting, but it's all family. I don't think I'm micromanaging that at this time. There's no immediate threat anyway. He wants to challenge me. Is this for the damn dynasty banner? I think he's actively challenging me over who should lead this family. I'm the dynasty head, yeah, that's right. And he wants... Let me just check this, right? He wants the chest back as well? My god. What a petty, petty man. He doesn't actually have my chess set. We gave that to Galicia. I will take this challenge. I'm a brave man. I will fight you. If you want the banner, come and take it. And this, I mean, honestly, we may very well lose this. Does he have a weapon here? Oh, King Osorio's spear. And a pretty good armor as well. Yeah, this is where he gets all his prowess from. He's just over-equipped. But his base is merely a 7, whereas our base is an 8. Okay, well, that's actually not that much better. But yeah, much more comes from us being a Blade Master brave. So this is all natural skill rather than equipment. I'll take this challenge, and I might actually lose it. King Osorio and I stalk around each other, each weighing our options. He couches a fearsome King Osorio's spear, while I grip my own spear that belonged to Prince Vea. The deadly weapon feels cool and weighty in my grasp. This fight may only be till first blood, but that doesn't calm my nerves. I am the fastest blade in Aquitaine any day of the week. I'm an artist. Right. A picture of agony across my foe. Osorio pulls back from every blow, letting me attack without getting another solid hit in. It's not long before I can feel myself begin to tire, so he's tiring me out. My form is good with only small errors, and Osorio's stance is incredible. Ooh, I could try to remove his weapon. If we did that, oh my god, we could actually win, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Let's go! Oh my god. One colossal piercing thrust from my spear is almost enough to wrench Osorio's spear away from him, but he just manages to recover. Osorio retaliates with a smooth flowing series of thrusting jabs and piercing thrusts, each strike forcing me back a little. No, look at this. Why is he so much worse? Duel handicap rank 6! My form is good, and Osorio's stance is incredible. I have my opponent on the back foot, but still need to consolidate my... I am the fastest blade in Aquitaine. In battle, I'm an artist, right. Osorio shifts into a defensive stance, his spear forming a damn near impenetrable wall. I could try to kick him in the shin. Would give him a bigger penalty here, even now. Does that stack? I don't think that stacks, right? Because, he already has it. He already has... I don't actually know how that works. I could simply have a confident attack here. A medium increase to your risk of injury. No, you know what? I will simply do a confident attack. I think I have him... Oh my god, I actually cannot believe that we won this. Confidence lends competence, as they say, and my strikes prove that. Osorio, whether from rage or arrogance, lays into me, berating me as though I were a dirt-covered commoner. My hackles start to rise, but I hold myself till he pauses for a deep breath. Then, and only then, do I spring forward with a piercing thrust that knocks him straight onto his ass. Though dazed, Osorio looks willing to keep fighting at first. When it becomes clear that I'm about to cut his throat, however, he yields. You just got owned. You completely got destroyed. Never ever knock at this door again. Do you understand this? Obviously, he keeps the damn claims because they are their house claims. But yeah, you just got embarrassed, my friend. Never come over here again. I respect that he did it. A 55-year-old man walking up to me, a god in armor. But of course, he could only lose. I mean, come on. Elvira has been asking me for a ragdoll for a long time, and I told her I would get one for her in 3 months if she displayed more focus in her studies. She responded that she was fine with her current dedication to her studies, reward or no reward. I'm a humble person. It doesn't really clash with content, but maybe there's something here that he would say. We all learn to live with our lot in life. I should teach her a more flexible way of thinking, or Elvira must be told to take me at my word. I don't know, Elvira. I honestly don't think any of these really sound like him, and with that, I'm inclined to take the standard option. Content, obviously not a great trait, but, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't think he talks about flexible ways of thinking, and I don't think that he talks about taking you by his word. I think he's I mean, maybe, but I'll just go with content here. I'm not really, I don't really see him opposing it. We did imprison somebody, but I don't think we imprisoned him. I seized a better armor. My god, that is very nice. Okay, so we have his son. And whoever this is, we will obviously release her. She's part of the Wieden family. The county war is over, and he is a wanderer. My god, I wish we had captured him. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, what can you do? Of course, he's reading the books of the Gelonese, that poisonous family. I will disband my troops right now. And then I will take a look at this armor. We had a Vasconia mail. Who created this? Let me just check this. That doesn't strike me as an amazing mail. It was made for Prince Vea, sure. But I don't think this has the same... We never talked about this mail. We always talk about the crown and the spear. So I will indeed actually just wear the Carling Lamina armor. It also further now makes it so that I am donning Carling armor. Who made this? It's King Guiget's armor. Yeah, if that isn't a reason to believe that I am a good... oh, that's expensive. I'll pay it, sure. That I'm a good candidate for this position, then I don't know what does. This armor is constructed from horizontally overlapping hardened leather bands that are masterfully laced together with cords of linen, while the helmet with while the trim and lining are cut from fine lambswood. Very, very nice. And this puts an end to King Asna the Dragon. He ran away with his estate. He ran away, trying to hold whatever he could, but he is gone for good for the moment. And what I'm going to do is, I did of course see that this fella here had a claim. Count Gouraged. This will, of course, directly go to his liege as well, because, you know, they're a hand in hand there. But he has a claim on Bresse, and I am a good man. I will give you... Wait a minute, I need to check, actually. Does he have a claim on Bresse as well? No, he does not. I will give it to Count Gouraged. He rightfully deserves this, and this is my appreciation to the Wieden clan, I think. This is me saying, I respect your ways, Duke Casimir. Don't you forget that as well. I think the time has come, though, and I realize now that this will be something for the next episode. So the intro here makes very little sense, other than, of course, that the story that we talked about there matters. But I think it is time that we attempt to befriend the Pope. 30% chance. I don't think we can get it any higher. Compassionate likes gregarious. He has a high opinion of me. I am gregarious, and my diplomacy is pretty high. I could, of course, wait. I mean, I could wait for more perks, right? Let me just check this here. And none of these perks, I think, are appropriate. Obviously, learning his language would be nice, but we could get the defensive negotiations as well. Does this alter? Yeah, the befriend scheme power right here. This could be important. This could be very powerful, but honestly, I think in the next episode, I might just attempt to become friends with Pope Stephanos. Either way, we have to end it right here. The Seljuks indeed stagnating after Sultan Al-Muazzam Al-Arslan had to take over. What happened here? Right, under mysterious circumstances, Jesus. I don't think the Seljuks are going... I mean, then again, they still have many troops here. Let's find out what they are doing. What is happening over here? Oh yeah, not much. It's still 1049. I believe the next wave of an attempt of conversion is 1050. I will see you in the next episode. For the moment, later, alligator.